If you're watching this video, there's a good chance that you really care about your marriage. You are all in. You're not numb. You're not saying, I guess this is just how it is. You're probably saying something like, we want this to be better. I hear that all the time from couples. Couples will tell me, we've talked, we've prayed, we've had some really good conversations. And they meant it. And those moments were real and they were hopeful and sometimes they were emotional. But then a few weeks go by and it feels like not really all that much has changed. The same tensions show up again. The same arguments return. They get stuck in the same place again. And sooner or later, that quiet question creeps in. Why does this feel so hard? Even when we love God, even when we love each other, and we're really trying. Here's what I want you to hear. Most of the time, the problem isn't that you don't care enough. And it's usually not that you're not trying hard enough either. More often than not, it's actually that you're trying to create lasting change with short bursts of effort, without anything really sturdy underneath that's going to support all that effort. Most of us assume that change happens through big moments, that late night talk that finally clears the air, or a serious conversation that feels like a turning point. A prayer where you promise God, this time it's going to be different. And those moments can matter, and sometimes they do, and sometimes they are necessary, but they don't last on their own. They might lighten something up, but they won't hold it together. Real life, unfortunately, does not run on emotion. It runs on habit. It runs on what you fall back on when you're tired and when you're stressed and when you're distracted. That's why motivation feels strong one week and it's gone the next week. Some days you feel hopeful and connected. Other days, you're just trying to make it through the evening without another argument. That doesn't mean that you're failing. It means that you're human. It means that your marriage needs something more reliable than just emotion and motivation. And this is where rhythms come in. Rhythms are the small, repeated ways that we relate to each other in marriage, even without realizing it most of the time. It's how you speak when you get tense with each other. It's how long it takes you to repair after a disagreement, whether you move toward each other or you pull away when it's uncomfortable. These patterns shape your marriage far more than your good intentions ever will. But here is the hopeful part. God works through rhythms. He always has. Read the Old Testament. Change does not come through rushed transformation. It doesn't come through emotional highs that can't be sustained. Change comes through steady, faithful practices woven into the everyday warp and woof of life. And when you look at Scripture, formation is almost always happening slowly, day by day, season by season, often without a lot of fanfare. Marriage works the same way. Healthy change usually doesn't feel dramatic. It feels subtle, unnoticeable even. You notice you recover faster after an agreement. Your tone softens more easily. You feel a little more like you're on the same side. Sometimes you don't even realize how much you've changed until you look back and you think, wow, we don't get stuck in arguments like we used to. That is what rhythms will do. One mistake that couples make is assuming that if something is small, that it won't really matter or that it's not important. But small, repeatable practices are incredibly powerful because they don't require you to be at your best all the time. They work on normal days. They work on long days, on days when you don't have much to give. A couple of minutes of intentional connection on most days will shape your marriage more than the occasional long conversation. Simply because those conversations actually happen. Not because it's impressive, but because it's faithful. And faithfulness over time builds something solid. Now, if you're thinking, hey, look, we have tried things before and they don't stick. I get it. That makes sense. A lot of couples aren't discouraged because they failed. They're discouraged because what they tried asked too much of them. It was too big, too complex, and too dependent on energy that they don't always have. Rhythms do not ask you to fix everything all at once. They ask you to begin somewhere that you can sustain. And if one of you is more motivated than the other, that's okay. That's normal. Change rarely starts with equal enthusiasm. What matters more is how it's approached, without pressure, without preaching, without keeping score. The most effective changes are the quiet ones. So if you're wondering where to start, here's my encouragement. Don't overhaul everything in your marriage. Don't pile on a dozen new habits. Choose one small rhythm, something you can do on a rough day, and trust that God will do more with your steady faithfulness than you expect. Growth usually happens while life is going on, while no one is watching. If your marriage feels stuck, it does not mean that God isn't working. It may mean that He's working more quietly than you hoped. And quiet work, over time, can change more than you think. Hey, thanks for spending a few minutes with me today. I hope that you will feel a little less pressure and a little clearer about what actually helps a marriage grow. I would love for you to subscribe to the channel, like and share the video, all the things. I'd love for you to comment about how this video might have impacted you. Until next time, live fully, love faithfully, and trust God for your flourishing marriage.